Welcome to Nationalize. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. The North American auto industry is undergoing a seismic shift, with Japanese automakers pivoting their focus from the US to Canada. The catalyst: US trade policies that have made the American market unpredictable and risky for foreign manufacturers. As tariffs and political uncertainty mount, Canada is emerging as a safe haven for investment and production. This isn't just a supply chain tweak, it's a fundamental redrawing of the continent's manufacturing map. President Trump's protectionist agenda, meant to boost US industry, has ironically pushed Japanese automakers to diversify northward. Canada's stable political climate and skilled workforce now make it the preferred destination for Japanese investment. Automakers are quietly shifting resources, with cities like Windsor, Ontario, seeing new opportunities. The result: a new auto axis is forming with Canada at its center. This realignment will have lasting consequences for workers, consumers, and the future of global trade. The headlines may focus on political drama, but the real story is the strategic decisions reshaping the industry. The great northward shift has begun, and its ripple effects are only starting to be understood. A new chapter for the global automotive order is underway. The current turmoil is the result of the Trump administration's aggressive trade strategy. In April 2025, a 27.5% tariff hit Japanese vehicles, up from just 2.5%. All other imports, including those from Canada and Mexico, faced a 25% tariff, meant to force production onto US soil. But in July, a new deal with Japan dropped their tariff to 15%, still high, but now lower than for North American neighbors. This created a bizarre incentive. It became cheaper to import a car from Japan than from Canada or Mexico. Automakers scrambled to adapt, with shifting tariffs making long-term planning nearly impossible. New port fees and unpredictable policy changes further squeezed profit margins. The administration's goal was to renegotiate trade relationships, but the result has been chaos and unintended winners and losers. Automakers are now forced into billion-dollar decisions based on a constantly shifting landscape. This set the stage for the strategic realignment we see today. Amid the chaos, Toyota is doubling down on its US presence with a $10 billion investment over 5 years. Rather than retreat, Toyota is expanding hybrid production at 5 US plants, creating hundreds of new jobs. This move is a calculated shield against trade volatility, reinforcing Toyota's commitment to the American market. Yet, even Toyota isn't immune. Tariffs and shipping costs have slashed profits, with a $438 million net loss in Q3 2024. The company's strategy is twofold: absorb short-term pain from tariffs while investing heavily in US production for the future. By localizing more manufacturing, Toyota aims to insulate itself from further trade disruptions. This approach allows Toyota to maintain its market share and adapt to changing political winds. The company's resilience and foresight are on full display as it navigates the new landscape. Toyota's American Gambit is a high-stakes play to remain dominant, no matter the policy shifts. The message is clear: Toyota is here to stay and ready to adapt. The stakes are high, but so is Toyota's commitment to the US market. The industry is watching closely. While Toyota can weather the storm, smaller Japanese automakers face existential threats. Mitsubishi, with no North American factories, has raised US prices by over $2,400 per vehicle, slashing its profit forecasts. Mazda's exports from Mexico to the US have plummeted 54% due to tariffs, forcing price hikes and a scramble to boost US production. Mazda may have to deepen its alliance with Toyota just to survive. Subaru, despite a US plant in Indiana, has raised prices and cut its base Outback model, narrowing affordable options. These brands must choose raise prices and risk losing customers, cut models, or face a slow decline in the US market. The tariffs are forcing tough decisions, with some brands considering retreat. The affordable segment is shrinking, and survival means adapting fast. Strategic partnerships and production shifts are now a matter of survival, not choice. The fight for market share is fiercer than ever. For these brands, the clock is ticking. The US market is no longer a guaranteed safe haven. Only the most adaptable will endure. Amid the trade war, Canada has emerged as the unexpected winner. US tariffs, meant to boost American manufacturing, have instead made Canada a prime destination for Japanese investment. Despite a 25% tariff on Canadian-made vehicles entering the US, automakers see Canada as a stable, strategic hub. Canadian plants can serve not just the US, but also Europe and other markets with favorable trade deals. As the US market grows riskier, Canada's appeal as a reliable partner rises. Japanese automakers are expanding facilities in Ontario and exploring new investments. The Canadian government is actively courting this interest, offering incentives and stability. As the US becomes less predictable, Canada's industrial base is quietly strengthening. The irony is clear. Policies meant to isolate the US are fueling Canadian growth. For Canadian auto workers, this shift is a welcome reprieve. Canada is capitalizing on the chaos to the south, becoming a new automotive powerhouse. The trade shuffle has redrawn the map, with Canada at the center. The northward shift is real and accelerating. The US-Japan trade deal has created a paradox. North American-built cars face higher tariffs than those imported from Japan. Vehicles assembled in Canada or Mexico, often packed with US parts, are hit with a 25% tariff. Meanwhile, Japanese-built cars with little US content face just a 15% tariff. This upends the logic of regional trade and penalizes the integrated North American supply chain. American automakers like GM, Ford, and Stellantis are now at a disadvantage. Despite building millions of vehicles in Canada and Mexico, the policy taxes US companies for using efficient cross-border supply chains. Industry leaders have condemned the deal, calling it a bad outcome for US workers and manufacturers. The modern auto industry relies on global networks, not single-country production. Disrupting this system hurts all North American players, not just foreign competitors. The administration's approach is a self-inflicted wound on a vital economic sector. The result: confusion, frustration, and a weakened regional industry. The policy's contradictions are now impossible to ignore. The North American auto sector is paying the price. Industry experts warn that the current trajectory spells trouble for the US auto market. Analysts like Sam Fiorani predict smaller Japanese brands may retreat if tariffs keep rising, erasing their affordability advantage. Consolidation and alliances, especially with giants like Toyota, are seen as survival strategies for brands like Mazda. Julie Booty expects Mazda to deepen its partnership with Toyota to access US production and procurement networks. Industry groups like Autos Drive America are urging the administration to extend tariff relief to all key partners, not just Japan. They argue that fairness and consistency are essential for a healthy, competitive market. Singling out one country for preferential treatment distorts the industry and harms everyone. The consensus current US policy is fracturing the North American market, creating instability and unfairness. Companies are forced into defensive postures, threatening smaller players and distorting competition. Without a course correction, the damage to the US auto market could be severe and long-lasting. The call for a level playing field is growing louder. The industry needs stability, not chaos. The future depends on equitable, predictable trade rules. The clock is ticking for meaningful change. The trade war's impact lands hardest on American consumers. Tariffs and disrupted supply chains are driving up new car prices, even for some US-built models. Affordable options are shrinking, especially from Japanese brands forced to raise prices or cut entry-level models. More buyers are turning to the used car market, pushing those prices higher too. The diversity of the US auto market is under threat, as smaller brands consider retreat and lineups shrink. The loss of affordable models and brands means fewer choices and higher costs for everyone. Japanese automakers have long driven US innovation and jobs, but now their future is uncertain. Consumers and workers alike face a crossroads: higher prices, fewer choices, and a less certain future. The North American auto industry is a case study in unintended consequences. Trade policies meant to protect US jobs have instead created uncertainty and pushed investment to Canada. The core problem: selective, inconsistent tariffs that disrupt the integrated North American supply chain. The solution is clear. Level the playing field by negotiating fair tariff agreements with all key partners. Stability and predictability are essential for long-term investment and growth. Automakers need clear, consistent rules to plan for the future. The industry's strength lies in its integration, not isolation. Building walls only weakens all three nations' competitiveness. The path forward is partnership, not protectionism.